Listen to me. There comes a moment in life when you stop negotiating with your excuses, a moment where you look in the mirror and say, enough, I'm done settling, I am going to win no matter what. Winning is not about luck, it's not about talent, it's about decision. A decision that says, I will rise, I will grow, I will fight for the life I deserve. Most people wait. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect time. They wait for someone to validate their dreams. But winners, the rare ones, they move first. They move when they're scared. They move when they're tired. They move when no one believes in them, because winners don't need permission. They build their own momentum. You are not here to live a small, average life. You are here to break patterns, generational patterns, mental patterns, fear patterns. You are here to create a new standard for what is possible. Your mind will try to talk you out of it. You're not ready. You might fail. What will people think? And that's the moment you speak power into your own soul. I am going to win, no matter what. Not if, not maybe, not I hope. I will. The greatest battles aren't outside you. They are inside you. The battle between discipline and comfort, between growth and excuses, between purpose and procrastination. You win that battle and you win everything else. Winners don't wait for the right conditions. They create them. They show up when they're not motivated. They do the work when nobody claps for them. They sacrifice today for the future they deserve tomorrow. And every step, every rep, every late night, every early morning whispers the same truth. You are getting stronger. You are getting better. You are becoming unstoppable. People may doubt you. People may misunderstand you. People might even laugh at you. Let them. Your vision was given to you, not them. They cannot see what you see. They do not feel what you feel. They do not carry what you carry. You do not need their understanding. Your future does not require their approval. Pain will show up. Challenges will show up. Obstacles will show up, but so will strength. So will courage. So will growth. Every struggle is shaping the champion inside you. Pressure creates diamonds. Fire creates steel. Storms create warriors. And you are becoming all three. Say it again with power. I am going to win no matter what. Say it when you're tired. Say it when you're discouraged. Say it when you're afraid. Because the moment you believe it, your actions change. Your mindset changes. Your life changes. You don't get what you wish for. You get what you are committed to, and you are committed to winning. No matter how long it takes, no matter how many times you fall, no matter how loud the world doubts you, you will rise, you will fight, you will win. This is your time. This is your breakthrough. This is your moment. Say it like you mean it. I am going to win, no matter what. Winning starts with an unbreakable decision, commitment before conditions. Most people never experience their true potential because they only commit when circumstances are perfect. They wait for the right time, the right energy, the right inspiration, the right resources. But winners understand something different. Conditions are never going to line up. Life doesn't hand you the perfect moment on a silver platter. The perfect moment is created the moment you decide, the moment you say, I'm in fully, completely, no backup plan. Everything changes the moment you make a decision that leaves no space for retreat. Decisions are the birthplace of destiny. A real decision means you cut off every other option. It means you are no longer entertaining the possibility of going back to the old version of yourself. Most people don't decide. They prefer to try, and trying is a safety net. Trying keeps you comfortable. Trying keeps you average. Trying keeps you stuck. A decision is different. A decision is a line in the sand that says, from this point forward, my life will never be the same. Think about any transformation in history. Businesses were built. Revolutions started. Lives changed. All because someone decided they were done living in the same place mentally, emotionally, or physically. They decided the story would change. They decided the outcome would be different. It wasn't luck. It wasn't easy. It wasn't convenient. It was commitment. Every breakthrough starts with commitment, not talent, not resources, not inspiration. Commitment. Commitment means you do it even when you don't feel like it. Commitment means you keep going when the motivation fades. Commitment means you don't test the water. You dive in with both feet. Too many people treat commitment like a mood. If they feel inspired, they commit. If they feel tired, they back off. Winners don't operate like that. Winners commit first, then figure the rest out. They don't ask, how will I do this? They say, I'm doing this, and then make the how appear. When you make a decision with total commitment, the world responds. Opportunities show up, people show up, ideas show up. But they only show up after the decision, not before. Most people do the opposite. They wait for the opportunity before they decide. They wait for proof before they believe. They wait for certainty before they act. Winners create certainty by acting. The moment you commit, the universe, God, life, whatever you believe in, starts moving pieces in your favor, not because of magic, but because commitment sharpens your focus. You start recognizing possibilities you never saw before. You start creating momentum you never had. Your brain stops looking for escape routes and instead searches for solutions. You start developing new habits, new standards, new identity. Your commitment becomes the internal force driving you to take action, to push harder, to do more. Decision activates something powerful inside you. Identity. When you decide, your identity shifts from someone trying to someone becoming, and eventually to someone who already is. There is a big difference between I'm going to try to win and I'm going to win. When you adopt that identity, you behave differently. You talk differently. You think differently. You show up differently. You stop asking, can I do this? And start asking, what do I need to do next? Commitment is the foundation of confidence. People think confidence comes first, but confidence is built by keeping promises to yourself. Every time you commit and follow through, you prove to yourself that you are someone who can be trusted, that builds unshakable confidence. Not the loud confidence that brags, but the quiet confidence that moves mountains. Everyone wants success. Everyone wants growth. Everyone wants the outcome. Few are willing to commit without guarantees. They want to see the result before they put in the effort. They want the reward without the risk. But every winner knows you cannot receive what you are unwilling to commit to. Commitment is the doorway. The price must be paid up front in full without knowing the exact date of the return. Look at anyone who has achieved greatness. They made a decision long before they had results. They used commitment to fuel action. They said, I don't know how yet, but I will figure it out. That decision changed everything. Maybe you're standing in front of something you say you want, a better body, a healthier mind, a stronger business, a new life. You say you want it, but do you? Because if you truly wanted it, you'd commit to it. You'd stop negotiating with your excuses. You'd stop asking for permission. You'd stop waiting for the right moment. The right moment is the moment. You decide. You might not feel ready. You might not have support. You might have fear, but fear doesn't mean you're not ready. Fear means you're close to a breakthrough. Winners feel fear and move anyway. They don't make decisions based on their emotions. They make decisions based on their vision. The version of you who gets everything you want is not more talented than you are right now. They're more committed. They decided that nothing would stop them. They decided that they would show up every day. They decided that they would win no matter what. Not win if it's easy, not win if it's fast. Win no matter what. That mindset turns ordinary people into extraordinary forces. Think about what life would look like if from this moment forward you made the decision to commit, not halfway, not partly, not when it feels convenient, but fully. What would change if you eliminated the option of quitting? How much progress would you make if you showed up every single day, regardless of how you feel? If commitment became your identity, rather than something you occasionally do, your entire life would shift. Make the decision. Lock it in. Commitment before conditions. The moment you decide, your life moves with you. Your mind creates limitations. Discipline destroys them. Everything you want in life begins in your mind, but so does everything that holds you back. Your thoughts can become your greatest ally or your most destructive enemy. The human mind is powerful, but it has one default setting, safety. It will convince you to stay in what is familiar, predictable, and comfortable, even when that comfort is destroying your progress. The mind invents excuses so convincingly that you start believing they are facts. It whispers, you're not ready, you might fail. What if people judge you? And because those thoughts feel real, you treat them like truth. The mind builds invisible walls that keep you trapped in fear, self-doubt, procrastination, and hesitation. Those walls are not physical. They are stories. They are beliefs. They are assumptions dressed as logic. You don't need to break through steel or concrete. You only need to break through your own mental narrative. The truth is, you are not fighting your circumstances. You are fighting the thoughts about your circumstances. You are not fighting your lack of resources. You are fighting the belief that you are helpless without them. You are not fighting time. You are fighting your habit of waiting. Every limitation starts as a thought, and every breakthrough begins with a new one, but thinking differently alone doesn't create results. Everyone has dreams, desires, and goals. What separates those who achieve from those who wish is one thing: discipline. Discipline is the bridge between wanting and having. Discipline is proof you have decided. Discipline doesn't care how you feel in the moment. It doesn't negotiate with mood or motivation. Motivation feels good, but motivation is temporary. Motivation is an emotion. Discipline is a choice. Discipline is a commitment you make to yourself and keep regardless of how tempting it is to break it. Discipline is the language of winners. Your mind will always try to talk you out of discipline. It will whisper that you deserve rest when you haven't earned it. It will encourage shortcuts, distractions, and comfort because it fears effort and uncertainty. It wants you to stay where you are. Discipline wants you to move toward where you are meant to be. Your mind says later. Discipline says now. Your mind says it's hard. Discipline says do it anyway. Your mind says, what if I fail? Discipline says, I will learn and keep going. Discipline is the voice that cuts through doubt with action. When you practice discipline, something powerful happens. Your mind stops being the master and becomes the servant. Instead of your thoughts controlling your actions begin shaping your thoughts. You train your mind that you follow through. You train your mind that excuses don't work on you anymore. Every time you choose discipline, you weaken the grip of fear and strengthen the belief that you are capable. The moment you act in spite of fear, fear loses its power. Your mind begins to understand that you are not available for limitations. You are not available for excuses. You are not available for mediocrity. You are only available for growth, progress, and mastery. Think about the times in your life when you achieved something worthwhile. It didn't happen because you felt like doing it every day. It happened because even on the days you wanted to quit, you chose discipline over comfort. Discipline is the muscle that turns average into unstoppable. The more you train it, the stronger it becomes, and the weaker your limitations become. Discipline is not punishment. It is self-respect. It is saying to yourself, I am worth the effort. It is honoring your potential instead of bowing to your excuses. When you show discipline, you are telling your future, I'm coming for you. Your mind tries to protect you from discomfort, but discomfort is the birthplace of growth. The things you avoid are usually the things that would change you the most. Discipline takes you into discomfort deliberately. It teaches you how to be in uncomfortable spaces without shrinking. It teaches you that temporary discomfort leads to permanent strength. The moments in life where you push through resistance, those are the moments when your identity evolves. Each disciplined action builds a new belief. I am the type of person who follows through. And that identity becomes the fuel for bigger decisions, bigger risks, and bigger wins. Limitations cannot survive when discipline is present. Imagine every time your mind says, you can't, you respond with action. Every time your mind says, stop, you take one more step. Every time your mind says, it's too hard, you increase your effort. If you lived like that, what could possibly stop you? Discipline eliminates negotiation. Once you say, I'm doing it, there is no more discussion. You remove the option of quitting. You eliminate the possibility of going backward. You become unstoppable because you are no longer dependent on feelings. You become driven by standards. Discipline gives you freedom, freedom from doubt, freedom from the past, freedom from the limitations constructed in your mind. People think discipline is restrictive, but the opposite is true. Lack of discipline is restrictive because it keeps you stuck in the same place. Discipline unlocks your ability to create the life you want. It gives you control over your future instead of letting your impulses control you. Discipline is the art of choosing what you want most over what you want right now. And every time you make that choice, you separate yourself from the majority. Your mind will create barriers, but discipline walks straight through them. Your mind will tell you to be realistic, but discipline allows you to be exceptional. Your mind will point to reasons to stop, but discipline finds reasons to continue. When your mind says you don't feel like it, discipline says feelings are not required. When you live in discipline, nothing is left to chance. You plan, you execute, you grow. You don't wait to feel ready. You show up and get ready through action. Discipline transforms effort into results and doubts into certainty. The walls your mind builds fall under the pressure of consistent action. And one day, you realize those limitations were never real. They were just thoughts. Thoughts without power, thoughts without permission. Thoughts that dissolve the moment you stopped obeying them. Your mind creates limitations. Discipline destroys them. Consistency beats motivation. Show up even when you don't feel like it. The world is full of people who start strong and finish weak. They get excited. They feel motivated. They make plans. They announce their goals. And for a moment, everything looks possible. But after the excitement fades and real effort is required, they fall back into old habits. They wait for motivation to come back, like a wave that will magically push them towards success again. But motivation is not consistent. Motivation is not reliable. Motivation is an emotion, and emotions change. Consistency, on the other hand, is rooted in discipline. It doesn't ask how you feel. It doesn't care if you're inspired. Consistency only cares about what you do. Anyone can act when they feel motivated. The real test of greatness is what you do when the alarm goes off and your body says sleep, when the work feels boring, when progress is slow, when no one notices your effort, when you feel invisible, when you feel tired, when you feel like quitting, that is where consistency becomes your weapon. Because consistency is proof that your commitment is real. Anyone can show up once, few can show up daily, few can show up without applause, few can show up without results. Yet those who do become unstoppable, consistency is not about perfection. It's about persistence. It's about showing up again and again and again. It's the repetition that builds momentum. It's the repetition that builds habits. It's the repetition that builds confidence. Every time you show up, even in a small way, you cast a vote for the person you want to become. Those votes add up. They compound. Eventually, consistency reshapes your identity. You go from someone who tries to someone who executes, from someone who dreams to someone who produces, from someone who wants to someone who becomes. Think about nature. The strongest force in nature is not intensity, it's consistency. A river doesn't carve rock because of its power. It carves rock because it never stops flowing. Day after day, inch by inch, drop by drop, it shapes mountains. That is consistency. You don't need to be the strongest. You don't need to be the smartest. You don't need to be the most talented. You just need to keep going. Most people don't fail because they lacked ability. They fail because they stopped showing up. They quit too early. They gave up between effort and reward. Consistency requires patience. It demands that you stay committed long after the excitement disappears. Results rarely show up on your schedule. Success happens slowly, until suddenly. There will be stretches where you see no progress, where you question if it's worth it, where you doubt whether anything is working. But consistency is planting seeds. You don't dig the seed up every morning to check if it's growing. You water it. You protect it. You trust the process. Growth happens underground before you ever see it on the surface. The same is true for success. Progress is invisible before it becomes undeniable. Most people don't understand that success is boring. It is repetitive. It is unglamorous. It is not made of highlight moments. It is made of small, monotonous daily actions. Showing up, practicing, learning, repeating. The world celebrates the moment of victory, but ignores the 1,000 days of consistency that built it. You can't expect to do something once or twice and demand immediate results. Greatness requires long-term commitment. It requires resilience. It requires doing things long after the excitement has disappeared. When motivation fades, excuses appear. Your mind will tell you that you need rest, that you can start tomorrow, that missing one day doesn't matter, but you know the truth. Missing one day becomes missing two, and missing two becomes starting over. Consistency builds momentum, but inconsistency kills it. You don't get stronger by showing up when it's convenient. You get stronger by showing up when it's inconvenient. When you show up tired, you build toughness. When you show up frustrated, you build emotional resilience. When you show up unmotivated, you build discipline. That is how champions are created. Consistency is not ruthlessness. It is self-respect. It's keeping promises to yourself. When you say you're going to do something, do it. Not because someone is watching, not because you owe it to others, but because you owe it to yourself. Every act of consistency reinforces your identity as someone who follows through. Every missed commitment erodes that identity. You are building a relationship with yourself. Your confidence comes from that relationship. When you consistently break promises to yourself, your confidence disappears. When you consistently honor your word, your confidence becomes unshakable. Success is not a massive leap. It is a series of small, deliberate steps. It's writing one page, not a book. It's doing one workout, not losing 20 pounds overnight. It's making one sale, not building a Fortune 500 business in a day. People overestimate what they can do in a short burst of motivation and underestimate what they can accomplish with steady consistency. A little progress repeated daily over time becomes unstoppable progress. The danger of relying on motivation is that it teaches you to chase emotional highs. You get addicted to feeling inspired instead of becoming addicted to taking action. Consistency rewires your mind to crave effort instead of applause. It shifts your focus from feelings to habits, from talking to doing, from wishing to executing. That is transformation. Growth does not happen in intensity. Growth happens in repetition. The more you repeat an action, the more automatic it becomes. The more automatic it becomes, the easier it is to stay consistent. This is how habits are formed. This is how identity changes. There will always be distractions. There will always be temptations. There will always be moments where quitting feels easier. That's when you remind yourself why you started. Discipline is remembering what you want most when what you want now feels tempting. Consistency demands that you choose your future over your feelings. Feelings are fleeting. Results are permanent. Every day you show up, you close the gap between who you are and who you are becoming. Every day you show up, you reinforce your standards. Every day you show up, you prove that you are no longer negotiable with your excuses. Your future is not shaped by what you do occasionally. It is shaped by what you do consistently. The results that others admire are the consequence of thousands of invisible repetitions. Keep showing up even when you don't feel like it. Obstacles are not interruptions. They are training for your next level. Most people see obstacles as signs to stop, as evidence that the journey isn't meant for them. They mistake resistance for rejection. They assume that if something is difficult, it must not be the right path. But the truth is, every obstacle is a test. It's the universe, life, God, whatever you believe, checking whether you're truly committed to what you say you want. Anyone can move forward when the path is smooth. Anyone can feel strong when everything is working, but the person who becomes unshakable is the one who keeps moving when the path becomes steep, muddy, uncertain, and exhausting. Growth doesn't happen in comfort. Growth happens in friction. Every obstacle is sculpting you into someone stronger, wiser, and more capable of handling the success you're chasing. If you received success without obstacles, you wouldn't have the capacity to maintain it. You would collapse under the weight of the very thing you prayed for. Obstacles are not blocking your path. They are shaping your character. They are refining your mindset, your patience, your resilience. When you face setbacks, you learn skills you would never have developed in comfort. You learn how to adapt. You learn how to problem solve. You learn how to stay calm when everything around you is chaos. Champions learn from struggle because struggle teaches what comfort hides. Strength doesn't come from easy victories. It comes from getting knocked down and standing up again, even when your hands shake and your breath is heavy. Every challenge you face is preparing you for the challenges that come with the next level of your life. The next level always demands a stronger version of you. The obstacle is the training. The obstacle is the lesson. The obstacle is the teacher. When something gets in your way, you have two choices. Complain about it or grow through it. Complaining keeps you stuck. Growth pushes you forward. Every obstacle carries a message, but you have to be willing to listen. When money gets tight, the lesson might be discipline and creativity. When people doubt you, the lesson might be belief and self-worth. When progress slows, the lesson might be patience. When you face failure, the lesson might be persistence. Every obstacle has purpose. Think of a warrior. A warrior is not forged in silence or ease. A warrior becomes a warrior in pressure, in darkness, in resistance. Muscles don't grow without tension. Diamonds don't form without heat and pressure. A seed doesn't break through the soil unless it pushes against darkness and weight. You are no different. When life puts pressure on you, it's not trying to destroy you. It's trying to reveal you. Every obstacle is preparing you for the strength required at the next level. The version of you who hasn't faced these challenges is not yet capable of holding what you are asking for. The obstacle is strengthening you so that when the opportunity arrives, you can sustain it. The problem isn't that obstacles show up. The problem is that people misinterpret what obstacles mean. They think obstacles mean stop. They think obstacles mean failure. They think obstacles mean the dream is impossible. But obstacles mean progress. They mean movement. They mean you're on the path. Nothing of value comes without resistance. The higher you climb, the stronger the wind. Resistance only exists when progress is happening. The worst place to be is not where obstacles exist. The worst place to be is where nothing challenges you, where nothing pushes you to evolve, where nothing wakes you up to your potential. If you are facing obstacles, it means you are moving. Some people fold the moment. They face resistance. They say, maybe this is a sign I should quit. But winners interpret the same situation differently. They say, this is a sign I should push harder. The obstacle is not the enemy. The obstacle is the initiation. It is the doorway to the life you want. But most people never walk through it because the doorway looks intimidating. They stand in front of it and wait for it to disappear, not realizing that it is meant to be walked through, not waited out. Imagine a game. In every game, as you advance, the levels get harder. The enemies get stronger. The challenges become more complex. Why? Because the difficulty forces you to learn, improve, and develop new skills. Life works the same way. If you are facing harder challenges now, it means you have moved to a higher level. The challenge is proof of progress. The obstacle is not punishment, it is preparation. You ask for a breakthrough, and the obstacle is the training that qualifies you for it. When you start seeing obstacles as training, everything changes. Instead of emotional reactions, you develop strategic thinking. Instead of resisting difficulty, you embrace it. You start asking better questions. Instead of, why is this happening to me? You ask, what is this teaching me? What strength is being developed in me right now? How is this preparing me for what I asked for? These questions shift your perspective from victim to leader. They take you out of helplessness and put you in control. The obstacle becomes part of the mission, not a distraction from it. Every obstacle reveals something about you. It reveals your weaknesses, not to shame you, but to show you where growth is required. If you run from obstacles, you run from growth. If you avoid discomfort, you avoid transformation. Facing obstacles does not make you weak. Avoiding them does. The strongest people are not those who never face struggle. They are those who refuse to back down from it. They looked at the challenge head on and said, "This will not break me." And by doing so, they became unbreakable. Obstacles force you to innovate. They push you beyond your limits. They make you think differently. They make you dig deeper. They bring out creativity you didn't know you had. They push you to find new solutions, new strategies, new ways of thinking. The breakthrough rarely comes from doing what you've always done. It comes from being forced to evolve because circumstances demand it. That is the purpose of obstacles. They stretch you into someone who can handle more. Most people ask for success but want to avoid struggle. They want the reward without the journey. They want growth without friction. They want the final result, but not the learning process required to earn it. But without the struggle, the success would feel empty. The value of success comes from who you became on the journey. The obstacles are part of that becoming. They shape your character, your confidence, your inner strength. You don't get that strength from ease. You get it from facing what scares you and moving forward anyway. The obstacle is not blocking the path. The obstacle is the path. You don't need approval. Your results will become your voice. Most people spend their lives holding their dreams hostage to other people's opinions. They wait for permission. They wait for validation. They wait for someone to tell them, yes, you're good enough. Yes, you should do it. Yes, your dream makes sense. They are so afraid of being judged, rejected, or misunderstood that they choose silence over action, comfort over courage, and acceptance over authenticity. The world has convinced them that being liked is more important than becoming who they are meant to be. But true power begins the moment you stop seeking approval and start seeking results. The moment you decide that your life will not be dictated by the fear of judgment. The moment you realize that you are not here to be understood. You are here to be unstoppable. Approval is a trap disguised as connection. When you seek approval, you hand over your power. You hand over control of your decisions, your dreams, your future. You start shaping your actions based on what others might think. Instead of what you know you must do, you play small so others feel comfortable. You dim your ambition so others aren't threatened. You silence your vision so others won't question it. But the truth is, people will judge you no matter what you do. They will judge you when you fail and judge you even harder when you start succeeding. So why not live on your terms? Why not live a life that excites you instead of a life that impresses others? Approval gives temporary comfort. Results give permanent respect. When you produce results, something powerful happens. People stop questioning you. People stop doubting you. People stop telling you what you can and can't do because results speak louder than opinions. People listen to success. People respect execution. People follow outcomes. You don't have to explain yourself. When your results explain you, there will be people who say you're dreaming too big. There will be people who say you're unrealistic. There will be people who say you're changing, but they don't see what you see. They don't feel the fire you feel. They don't carry your purpose. They don't wake up with your vision. They don't lose sleep over your calling. Your dream is not theirs to understand, and their misunderstanding is not your responsibility to fix. Think about it. Every person who ever accomplished anything extraordinary was doubted before they were respected. At first, people laughed at them. They criticized them. They whispered behind their backs. Then, when success arrived, those same people pretended they supported them all along. That pattern never changes. The only thing that changes is whether you allow their doubt to stop you. Some of the most talented people in the world never succeed because they cannot handle being misunderstood. The fear of criticism is stronger than their desire for results. They silence their potential in exchange for approval. They trade greatness for acceptance. But those who rise, those who break through, those who achieve what others call impossible are the ones who learn to move without applause. They learn to work in silence. They learn to be okay with being underestimated. They understand that approval is a distraction. They don't need someone to cheer for them. They don't need a committee to confirm their calling. They don't need everyone to understand. They just need to execute, because execution kills doubt. Effort kills noise. Results kill opinions. You will never reach your highest level if you keep shrinking to fit the expectations of others. People love you as long as you stay at a level that makes them comfortable. The moment you grow, some will get uncomfortable. The moment you separate yourself, some will pull away. Your growth threatens their comfort. Your ambition exposes their excuses. Your discipline highlights their lack of it. People don't get mad because you're changing. They get mad because they're not. That's why you must stop waiting for approval. Approval is a form of control. As long as someone else needs to agree with your decisions, you aren't truly free. Freedom is when you act because it's right for your soul, not because it's right in someone else's eyes. Freedom is when you stop explaining yourself. Freedom is when you stop justifying your path. Freedom is when you realize that you never needed permission to begin. When you stop seeking approval, you start gaining clarity. You start trusting your instincts. You start hearing your own voice instead of the noise around you. You start honoring your own standards instead of living by someone else's. You start walking like you belong in rooms you used to feel intimidated by. You start acting like your dreams are inevitable instead of impossible. You start building a life that reflects your vision instead of building a life that keeps others happy. Success is built in silence. Let your actions talk. Let your results answer questions. Let your progress prove your intention. The most powerful people are not loud about their plans. They are loud with their achievements. They don't announce. They demonstrate. They don't chase validation. They chase execution. They don't worry about opinions. They worry about results. Think about a tree. When a seed is planted, no one celebrates it. No one applauds when it germinates underground. There are no congratulations, no recognition, no approval. It grows in silence. It breaks through the soil in silence. It fights through darkness in silence. But one day it emerges, unignorable, undeniable, unshakable. The same people who ignored it now admire it. That's how success works. People will ignore your effort until they cannot ignore your results. Your job is not to convince people. Your job is not to argue with doubters. Your job is not to win approval. Your job is to become a version of yourself that makes their doubts irrelevant. Let your results be the conversation. Let your work be the proof. Let your growth be the revenge. Approval is permission. Results are power. When you produce results, everything changes. Doors open. Opportunities appear. People who doubted you start asking for advice. People who ignored you start paying attention. People who dismissed you start respecting you. Not because you asked them to, but because your results demanded it. You don't need approval. You don't need applause. You don't need validation. You need consistency. You need courage. You need discipline. You need the willingness to keep showing up long after others have stopped. When you execute, you don't have to convince anyone. Your results speak on your behalf. They speak louder than any explanation, louder than any argument, louder than any opinion. In the end, the world doesn't respond to what you intended to do. It responds to what you actually did. Your results will become your voice.